So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the sixth and final edition of Berkeley Lab's second campus public meetings. I emphasize final. My name is Jeff Miller, Head of Public Affairs, and I will be your host for the evening. Thank you, Emeryville and Berkeley, for your hospitality and your interest in our proposed second campus. I apologize to those who have heard this before. Some of you have gone to all six of these. We will go through this again. If you would take a look at the agenda for this evening, you will note that there's a public comment period at the end. For those who would like to speak, you need to have filled out one of these cards and marked the box that says, I would like to speak. So is anyone who would like to do that who is yet to fill out a card? Could you please raise your hands and we'll have someone bring one to you? Is there anyone? Okay. When the public comment period begins, I'll read your names aloud and you can come to this microphone stationed right in front of me. Should you have a question, we will try to answer it, but keep in mind that some questions require a lot of elaboration. They're not as simple as they might seem. And so we're going to defer in many cases and ask that you go to our second campus website where we will be developing a frequently asked questions list. And that website can be found by going to the main LBL site at lbl.gov, looking for second campus under the navigation, and you will find the website there. You can also send us an email at secondcampus@lbl.gov at any time. We will begin tonight's program with a presentation from the lab, divided into two parts. First, Berkeley Lab presenter will be Lab Director Paul Alevsatos. Following Paul will be Jim Krupnick, the Chief Operating Officer, who will discuss the second campus selection process. Next will be comments by the city managers from Emeryville and Berkeley, followed by a presentation from the development team, remarks by the mayors of Berkeley and Emeryville and Wareham Development, followed by comments from several elected city officials during the public comment period. Last and very important announcement, parking is free if you stay to the close of the event. Now, if you leave early, one caveat, it's not as bad as it sounds. If you leave earlier, you will need to get validated. So that will still be free, but you have to take an extra step. If you stay to the end, the gates will be up. Okay, that said, please welcome Lab Director Paul Alevsatos to the podium. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you. I think this event of searching for our second campus is the most important thing that our laboratory is engaged in at the moment. It's a very massive event in the history of our laboratory, and of course it's deeply important for all the communities that we're engaged with. And we've had an opportunity to get to know a lot of people around the East Bay, and for them to get to know us a lot more deeply. And a lot of this, of course, will involve trying to create ultimately some unique public-private partnerships, like the one you just heard about with regards to parking, which seem to be working quite well. We do, of course, have a long-standing activity in the sites that are being discussed tonight, both in West Berkeley and in Emeryville. And so we have a lot of experience in this community now that has been tremendously positive for us. So we're very happy to be here tonight to discuss and to hear from you about the issues that will arise as we contemplate this possibility. Let me just at the beginning tell you a little bit about the laboratory itself. Most of you probably know the lab quite well, but some of you may not. So my intent here is simply to give a quick introduction to what the laboratory is engaged in, and a little bit about some of the values that the laboratory holds dear. So who are we? Lawrence Berkeley National Lab is a national laboratory run by the University of California. It's a part of the University of California, and it's run for the U.S. Department of Energy. The lion's share of the funding of the laboratory comes from the U.S. Department of Energy. National Institutes of Health also supports quite a bit of research at the laboratory. Those are the two biggest funders, but by far the biggest is the Department of Energy. And most of our research these days is focused towards the future of energy and looking at what will be new technologies and new science that will enable us to have a brighter energy future. Of course, we do have still many people working in other topics: cosmology, astrophysics, cancer research. There's a very wide swath of topics that the laboratory covers. That's very important for us, is to have a large portfolio like that, because actually it turns out in science all these things connect with each other in very unexpected ways. High energy physicists might, or a cosmologist might develop a new kind of detector which turns out to be useful in cancer research or in imaging that is used for understanding how a battery works. So these things are interconnected in interesting ways. In the last few years, the laboratory has really expanded its focus in the energy space, and we have established a large-scale initiative called the Carbon Cycle 2.0 Initiative, and quite a bit more than half of the lab is under this umbrella of the Carbon Cycle 2 Initiative. And the goal of this project is to create the science knowledge and the technology base so that in the future, people in the world can have an energy system that does not perturb the carbon balance of the planet. I think you know that today we burn fossil fuels, and when we burn them, CO2 is emitted into the atmosphere, and we burn about, globally, we put about 30 gigatons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere every year. About half of that comes out into the oceans and into the land, and the other half, about 15 gigatons, remains in the atmosphere. And as we put more and more CO2 into the atmosphere, that is changing the climate, and it will have, this will have dramatic impacts on many aspects of life in the decades and century ahead. So our laboratory is trying to make its contribution by providing the science base for how to deal with that issue in the long term, with activities that span topics like research in combustion, which is how we get our energy mostly today, carbon capture and storage. One day we may be obliged really to capture the CO2 as it's emitted and put it underground while we figure out how to have a better system. We do a lot of biofuels research, and the Joint Bioenergy Institute is here in Emeryville, and that is, of course, a carbon neutral, ultimately, that's a carbon neutral approach to getting energy, but the power efficiency is not that great, so it does use quite a bit of land, and a lot of the research being done at the laboratory is to try to improve the efficiency. But even in the longer term, we might move to what's called artificial photosynthesis, which would be a mechanism for circulating carbon more spontaneously. We're also deeply engaged in energy efficiency, which is the most important thing we can do in the short term, as well as in solar energy and energy storage, and in research related to how energy is used in the developing world, which turns out to be extremely important in this problem, because it turns out the 2 billion people on the planet who live on $2 or less a day, over time, in the coming decades, they're going to get access to energy more and more as they develop economically. And what they do with their energy system is going to matter, actually probably more than even than what happens in the United States and Europe in the long term. So these are all parts of our carbon cycle initiative at the lab. A few quick things about things the lab has done in the past. If you've ever studied chemistry, or if one of your if you have a son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter studying chemistry, they study the periodic table, and Berkeley Lab has certainly left its imprint on the periodic table. 16 elements of the periodic table have been discovered at the lab, and in fact, much of its structure, where it has this sort of section that comes down below, was really determined by scientists at the laboratory. And some of these elements are, of course, used today in medical imaging and smoke detectors and other such things. We've been working in the energy field for some decades now, and starting in the mid-1970s, Berkeley Lab was engaged in first proposing the ideas of appliance standards. Those were not things that existed before, and refrigerators would be an example of an early appliance standard that the state of California adopted. And today we remain engaged in that area of trying to help think about how we can save energy and be more efficient, and what are systems that can make that happen. We've certainly, our research into various topics like cosmology or high energy physics and so on has over the years also had lots of medical spin-offs. For example, the scintillation camera that's used for really PET scans was really first invented at Berkeley Lab, and so that's an example of medical imaging. We are deeply engaged in transferring the science and technology at the laboratory into real into companies. There's lists here of some companies that have spun out of the lab, some recently, some a while back, and we certainly expect, as we go forward in the second campus, for that to be a site that will have the possibilities of improving our ability to do that by perhaps having adjacent incubator spaces and other, help us to interact with private entities better than, when the national labs were created in the 40s and 50s and so on, they were often put in more remote locations, or in our case, we're up on that hill. But if we're in a community like this, where there's the capability to have companies really integrated right in with our spot, that's a very positive thing. So we look forward to that. We are up on the hills above the Berkeley campus. In about 200 acres. You can see that it's kind of a complicated site to run a massive science laboratory on, and when people visit it there, they often marvel at the fact that it's possible to sort of tuck all that equipment up onto a very steep hillside. But it has worked over the years. There have been 12 Nobel Prizes, and there are today 4,200 employees of the laboratory. 800 of the 800 university students are there each year doing their PhD work, typically at the lab. There are many focus areas, as I've mentioned to you, that cover a range of topics from bioscience and energy and environment to cosmology, high energy physics, computing, and other such areas. One thing that we do that is very important is, in addition to running research projects, we run a number of national user facilities. For example, the Advanced Light Source, which is a very specialized structure for producing X-rays that can be used to study biomedical systems or to look inside batteries and solar cells and understand how they work. We run the National Center for Electron Microscopy, which has the world's highest resolution microscope. If you want to take pictures and see atoms moving around and so on, there's very specialized equipment for doing that at the laboratory, Nanoscience Research Center, and Giant Supercomputer Center, and so on. One thing that we are deeply engaged in is continuously imagining future science facilities, because that's one of the most important things that we do. For example, right now, we are deeply thinking about a new so-called photon science facility. This would be, I mentioned to you, we have the X-ray source that's up there at the laboratory that scientists use to interrogate matter. There have been some developments in that field in the 18 years since that machine opened. And 10 years from now, it may be possible to have a machine that's qualitatively far superior and more advanced in its capabilities. So one of the things we do is we spend a lot of time thinking about those kinds of things. And some of the sites that we've been looking at for a second campus are ones which could conceivably accommodate some larger scale facilities. Some are not. I think the ones we're talking about tonight would probably not be able to accommodate something like that, but that's something that's certainly always on our mind. I'm just going to skip over that. I do want to say a couple of words about the developing world. I mentioned to you briefly this issue of the 2 billion people who live on $2 or less a day. We do a significant amount of research at the laboratory on things like, for example, one of the projects we were involved in some years ago was the development of the so-called UV Waterworks, which is a structure, a system that can be used to very inexpensively purify water in parts of the developing world that cannot set up the complete infrastructure of water purification that we might have here in the East Bay. And so that's a system that can be set up relatively quickly and inexpensively in a village. And we also worked very closely with a not-for-profit that licenses the technology and established a financial mechanism by which that can be established in small villages in a way that helps the people there to get it financed, and then they pay a small amount of money, cents, a couple, maybe a cent a liter or something, to get their water and ultimately pay back the loan. We've been involved in developing the Darfur stove, Berkeley Darfur stove, which helps refugees such as these women to burn the fuel that they can gather. They have to leave the refugee camps and go out and gather little burnable stuff that they can find all around. If it burns 3 times more efficiently, that makes them a lot safer, actually, and also able to survive much more easily. So these are examples of the kinds of projects that we're involved in, and we see that as a growing area for us in the future. We did in the last couple of years. We have talked to people all across the East Bay, asking them, their views of the lab and what they think about it, but also asking them what they would like, how they would like to see us engaged in their communities. And what we've heard resoundingly from everybody is they'd like to see us more involved in science education. They see the lab up on the hill there as being one of the premier science institutions globally. And in many cases, people in the communities are frustrated with not seeing good enough science education in their schools, so they've asked us to get more involved. And we have been involved over many years, but in the coming years, I think we've decided that that's going to be the focal point of our community interaction efforts. We do engage presently in Nano High, and a few hundred high school students come 10 times during the year to special nanoscience activities at the laboratory. We have lots of examples where scientists from the laboratory go out into the classrooms, but in the coming year you'll be seeing the start of our Cool Your School program, in which we'll have activities related to cool roofs and other approaches to energy efficiency. We'll have scientists going out into the schools and explaining the physics of how is it that cool your roofs work, which actually turns out to be very related to how the greenhouse effect works. So by going out and teaching that, we're hoping we'll give people a better understanding of some of the science that underlies the deep issues around climate change that we're so engaged in at the laboratory. So that gives you at least a feeling for some of the things that the lab is doing and for where we're headed with respect to community interactions. We have also in the past 2 years been engaged very strongly with a community advisory group, which is something we're very pleased to be involved in. We meet every couple of months with folks, and mainly around the Hill campus presently, we have discussions around issues of all the issues that might concern the community that surround us. And we certainly have a deep commitment as we enter into a new campus to continue to have mechanisms by which the communities that we're located in will have a mechanism for hearing from us early on about what projects we're planning down the road, but also for us to hear from them what are their concerns, what are issues that are on their minds, and to keep a dialogue very active. We are now deeply engaged in the second campus search, and I'm going to turn it over now to my colleague, Jim Krupnick, the Chief Operating Officer of the laboratory, who's going to say a few words about our planning for second campus and our needs in that space. So, Jim.
Thank you, and good evening, and welcome, everybody. I do want to take just a few minutes to talk about some of the specifics of our Second Campus initiative, talk about why we initiated the project, some of the attributes we're looking for in a second campus, where we are in the process right now, and where we're headed. So this slide says that about 25% of LB&L facilities are already off-site. And what that means is when 800 lab employees get up in the morning to go to work, they end up not coming to our main campus. They go to other places. So let me sort of show you some of the places they go. In West Berkeley, there's the Joint Center for Artificial Photosynthesis and Life Sciences Laboratories. In Emeryville, we have some operations offices and biofuels programs. In Oakland, we have the National Energy Research Scientific Computing Center. And then way out in Walnut Creek, we have the Joint Genome Institute. So just about 2 years ago, Director Olivasatos established that we really had a strategic need to do two things. One was to bring together the biosciences programs that existed in our lease spaces, bring them together to one site, and also have space for future expansion. So we felt that that would, one, reduce the barriers to scientific collaboration, and here I'm really talking about the physical barriers. Second, when you reduce those physical barriers, we would be able to be more productive, our scientists would be more efficient, we'd end up reducing the costs and be able to produce more science for less cost for the taxpayers. And third, we'd be able to bring new science programs to the lab. We really don't have the space for that right now on the Hill. The laboratory has more to offer the nation, and we would be able to compete and win some of those scientific programs. So the place we'd start would be the biosciences programs that already exist in these three communities in Berkeley and Emeryville and Walnut Creek. This gives some of the data on the sizes of roughly the sizes of those facilities now, and it's where we came up with the first phase where we were looking for up to 500,000 gross square feet to bring all these people together. So these are some of the site characteristics or attributes that we're looking for in a second campus. It had to be proximate to the LB&L main site. We said we wanted it to be within roughly 20 to 25 minutes. We want it to be compatible with surrounding neighborhoods and have appropriate amenities for the staff who are going to be on the campus. We're looking for ultimately about 2 million gross square feet that we would be able to develop over many years, many decades. This is not something we're looking to do for 5 years or 10 years. We don't want to be in this position 10 years from now. We want to move, we want to have a second campus that has the space that would accommodate the growth of science over 30, 40, 50 years out into the future. We want to be in a welcoming community, a community that supports us. We're looking for a place that has really good public transportation, and ultimately we want a campus that's got sort of a real open field, doesn't have a fence around it. It is a place that got a welcoming feel for both our scientists and the community. So these, we started with a request. We had many sites that sent in proposals. We came up with a short list of 6, and we starting working from the north to the south, the Richmond Field Station, Albany, Berkeley, Golden Gate Fields, Berkeley Aquatic Park West, the sites we're looking at tonight, the other end of Berkeley Aquatic Park and Emeryville, Emery Station, the Oakland, Brooklyn Basin, and then Alameda Point in Alameda. So this is the schedule of public meetings, and of course tonight this is the last of the community meetings. I also have here in green the 2 community advisory group meetings that we're having. Paul mentioned the community advisory group we've been engaged with over the last couple of years. So we're also talking to them about the process and asking for their input in the process. So in terms of going forward, we're coming to the end of the community outreach period. We'll finish with the CAG meeting in September. We are due to receive, we will ask and we'll receive more information from sites in September. We'll then finish our due diligence, and our goal is to announce the preferred site in November. That's what we hope to do. And it's not the final site, because until we do all the environmental reviews, until we go through that process, we really won't know what the final site is. We hope to finish that by the end of 2013, do construction in 2014 through 16, and then hope to move in by the beginning of 2016. So here are some images from the first 80 years of outstanding science at our main site. And our expectation is that the second campus will allow us to do that kind of science well into the next century. So thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Chris Barlow. I'm a partner at Wareham Development. Please join me in welcoming first Pat O'Keefe, the City Manager for the City of Emeryville. Following Pat, we will have Phil Camelars, City Manager for the City of Berkeley.
So I appreciate the fact that Paul started off the remarks tonight with the idea of public-private partnerships. And that's really where I would like to start my remarks tonight, is the transformation that has occurred in this community over the last 20 plus years as a result of public-private partnerships. We have before us tonight a proposal that you will see later on in the evening from Wareham Development, who in fact has been one of the original pioneers of the transformation of Emeryville, who took some incredible risks and had the vision of seeing what Emeryville could become in the midst of the 70s and the 80s, when we were in a state of industrial decline and were losing jobs and tax base. And one of the first great examples of that, which I think is quite germane to tonight's discussion, was Wareham's introduction of lab and office space for what was then Chiron, and I guess actually Cetus before Chiron, and then now Novartis, creating that type of space that allowed for the incubation of that business that then grew into a major multinational company. It's also, I think, indicative of the connection that we have had with the University of California, because of course one of the founders of that came from the university, and we've always had that strong connection between the university and the surrounding areas, not only Berkeley, but Emeryville as well. The second manifestation of that partnership and that transformation was the Emery Station project undertaken by Wareham Development. So that's the various buildings that are around the Emeryville station that make up the Emery Station campus. And of course, the Joint Bioenergy Institute is one of the major tenants within that development. And we're very glad to have J-Bay as one of our most recent partners to join in our partnership of transformation. J-Bay joins one of over 100 organizations that are in the life sciences and green technology business in this immediate surrounding area of Berkeley and Oakland, which we call the East Bay Innovation Corridor. This cluster employs an estimated 5,000 in life sciences and is in fact larger than Mission Bay. You don't hear about it talked in those terms. You hear a lot talked about Mission Bay, but in fact this cluster is larger than that. As an example of the benefits that J-Bay produces, as an example of the second campus tonight and the spin-offs that could occur from it, it's estimated that J-Bay produces approximately $7 million annually in direct and indirect spending. So that's on retail, hotels, business services, etc. So if you take that and scale it up to the 2 million square feet that is being discussed tonight as the potential build out of the second campus, you can see there's a tremendous impact. And by the way, 2 million square feet sounds like a lot, but in fact, that is what Chiron was approved for. It isn't all constructed yet, but we have familiarity with how to deal with the environmental impacts of that kind of scale of project. Both cities, Emeryville and Berkeley, have the advantage in my mind of having an existing infrastructure in place in order to support this type of use and development. So we have fire stations, police stations, we have recreation programs, anything that employees would need in order to feel supported, retail, parks, all of that exists in these locations and they're close by. And so we feel that there's already been a substantial investment by our communities that would support this effort. And then finally, Emeryville, in terms of its policies and its orientation, we recently just finished a 5-year update of our general plan. And the principal differences between the old general plan and the new general plan, just in summary, are an increase in allowed density, an emphasis on open space and parks, an emphasis on pedestrian connectivity and bicycle connectivity. So we're trying to move away from just dependence on single-use occupancy of cars and to move towards mass transit. And you'll see later tonight in the presentation that we've done a lot in that regard already, and our general plan contemplates moving further in that direction. And then finally, to conclude my remarks, I also wanted to pick up on something that Paul talked about, and that's what the university is doing in the way of science and math in the schools in the surrounding area. Our school district has struggled in the past, but we're making some fantastic strides and efforts in improving the performance of our schools. We have a STEM or math and science program that we've been very active in. Our school board and our city council meet together on a monthly basis as a committee. I doubt that there are very many cities in California that have that type of relationship and interrelationship between their school system and their city government. They should be. That's how it should be. But unfortunately, in many communities, they're at odds with each other. But we meet together. We plan things together. We're very interested in pursuing STEM. We see that this project could be quite supportive of those efforts. And I'll conclude by providing a resolution to all of you that from the committee that endorses the project. So thank you.
Thanks, Pat. I'm Phil Kamler, City Manager from the City of Berkeley. I know many people in the audience, and I've been to 3 of these presentations, and pleased of the 6 finalists that Berkeley has 3 sites in the final selection. The lab and Berkeley have been partners for quite a long time, since 1931. And since 2005, Wareham's been hosting the lab at the Aquatic Park campus in West Berkeley. So we're familiar with the lab, the players in the lab, and it's a great relationship. And of course, you've seen the work that the lab's doing, and the research these days on the reduction of the carbon footprint is important. It's vital for the not just the United States, but for the world. So we're proud of the work that the lab has done in the city of Berkeley. And of course, as Paul mentioned on that periodic table of elements, we're especially proud, and I had to look this up because I didn't know this, that in 1949, number 97 on the periodic table of elements, berkelium was discovered at the lab. And one day Emeryville may have I'm not sure what you might call it. You could start working on it now. In the city of Berkeley, where the city is a firm supporter of the research and development. Council most recently rezoned West Berkeley to allow for greater use of research and development. And that, you'll hear about this later, working with the city of Emeryville, we created an enterprise zone which allows for private investment for tax credits. And Bear Healthcare has invested or will invest $100 million more into the local Berkeley economy. So those are the types of things we're working towards. And LB&L, of course, brings many benefits to the city, not just the research, but in terms of jobs. And there's an array of jobs that within the city, within the campus. It's not just the scientists, but it's the technical support, it's the clerical support, it's the maintenance staff. And we're proud to say of the 4,200 lab employees, about 1,400 of those employees live in the immediate area. So having the second campus here in the area will help with local employment. And of course, you know, it's not just public partnership these days, but it's also cities working together. It's not just school districts and cities, but given the tough economic times, we can't just draw boundaries on these arbitrary city walls. So Berkeley and Emeryville have been working closely over the many years and months on a number of issues. Berkeley and Emeryville, one of the original founders of the East Bay Corridor, which is a multi-city commitment for emerging green technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Patrick mentioned, and you hear more about it later, about the Bioscience Cluster, one of the largest bioscience clusters in the country. And of course, as we talk about the carbon footprint, no other site, none of the 6 sites, other than the 3 sites in Berkeley, is as close to the main campus. So in terms of reduction of a carbon footprint and the goals of the lab, these sites offer the best opportunities. In terms of sustainability, what this project has, as you'll see shortly, is that it uses primarily existing buildings so that it would reduce the environmental impact of a lot of the new construction. So there'll be 3 options presented tonight that demonstrate the opportunities for the lab to have the second campus within the Berkeley-Emeryville project areas. And we encourage the lab to choose one of these sites. The process may be different for each of the sites, but the City of Berkeley is committed to working with the lab and with the property owners to make sure the process happens. So now we will move to a short presentation describing the project in West Berkeley and Emeryville.
The San Francisco Bay Area has always been at the forefront of innovation and research. You are looking at one of the largest life science and green tech research clusters in the country, the Emeryville-Berkeley Innovation Corridor. The Emeryville and West Berkeley corridor is bookended by 2 major international science company campuses, Novartis to the south and Bayer Healthcare to the north. Symbiotically surrounding these 2 anchors are nearly 100 other research-based companies.
If you compare the biotech corridor along Hollis and Berkeley and Emeryville, there is more square footage there dedicated to biotech than Mission Bay.
In the early 1980s, Wareham Development initiated the creation of 2 campuses dedicated to research and development, inspired by CETUS, Chiron, and Cutter Laboratories, which subsequently became Novartis and Bayer Healthcare.
Bayer in Berkeley, the site, for example, is more than 100 years old. We took it over in the 70s. We are really happy to be here, and we invested over the past 10 years more than $550 million into the Berkeley site.
We started Chiron in 1981 with 10 employees. When we sold the company in 2008 to Novartis, there were 3,000 people working in Emeryville.
It is in both these Wareham campuses that LBNL has already set up satellite operations, the Joint Bioenergy Institute, the new Advanced Biofuels Process Development Unit, the Life Sciences Division, and the Joint Center for Artificial Photosynthesis. These modern, custom-built research facilities have been designed and constructed to meet the specific needs of the very LBNL user groups that will be incorporated into the first phase of the second campus. Our sites are closer to the existing UC and LBNL campuses than any second campus choice you have. This proximity makes it easiest for senior scientists and grad students alike to commute and collaborate between campuses without becoming isolated. In these times of scarce resources, how can LBNL create this second campus? How has this been successfully done in the past?
There's a track record here. We fought the wars on biotechnology when Chiron first came to this city.
There were many advantages to us of being in Emeryville, but probably most important was the forward-looking city administration. I don't think we could have found a better place to do Chiron than Emeryville.
How many cities actually thought of what they wanted to achieve as a city, put together a plan and then executed on that plan.
Our general plan reflected on the biotech and high-tech industry, and we incorporated that into the future of this city. That is our focus.
In this case, we really found Emeryville and Berkeley partnering with the extension of the enterprise zone, and that really helped us to convince our top management that this is a place which really has the full support also from the community.
The essence of our proposal is to be cost-effective and to utilize approved facilities in either the Emeryville campus exclusively, the Berkeley campus exclusively, or in a combination of these two cities and the two campuses.
Why have these two cities, Emeryville and Berkeley, been so successful at attracting and retaining the best and brightest researchers and their respective research companies? Amenities.
The ability to attract the best and the brightest to this particular area has allowed it to flourish. And because of that, it was able to have the infrastructure, have the attractive resources and amenities in place to continue its transformative evolution.
Being in Emeryville, in sort of the heart of the Bay Area, was a big factor for us in recruiting the kind of people we wanted to have in the company. Half our employees in the end were PhDs, MDs, or attorneys who were attracted to the excitement of an urban location.
You know, you move into Emeryville and you just walk outside, you know, the door of Amherst, and there's like 5 great places to eat within a block, probably 50 great places to eat within 3 blocks. It's a place where you can both live close to work and find the amenities that you're looking for when you're in work mode.
Transit.
We are a transit-rich city. We were the first city in the state of California in 40 years to build an Amtrak station. We have this marvelously successful Emery-Go-Round.
The Emery-Go-Round is free of charge for all to use. Its ability to move people to BART, to San Francisco, and now we've expanded this service so that you have the Emery-Go-Round going to most of South Berkeley.
Wow, what a drag if you have to get in your car every day for an hour, you know, to get to work.
Our employees come from all over the Bay. We have a lot of young people who live in San Francisco. We have folks who live all over the East Bay. We have several folks in Marin. We found that Emeryville is a very easy place to get to.
There is a big focus on environmental issues in our general plan. We've moved ahead with our climate action plan, which is very serious.
I think the expansion of Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory right here in the West Berkeley corridor is really the best place to do business. I say that because it would make the carbon footprint much smaller.
We have an obligation to contribute back to society, whether it be for the carbon footprint of where the materials come from, the carbon footprint of what energy systems we put in place, taking care of what came before us and making it better. Fortunately for us, the type of tenants we have had have shared that philosophy and vision.
Collaboration.
So we would be very excited if LBNL would join us here in the Berkeley-Emeryville corridor. Being able to partner with employees from LBNL would be a great other attraction for us, and I think for many of the other companies in innovation in the East Bay corridor.
From a recruiting standpoint, you know, you show them this location and their proximity to other scientists. It's intuitive to scientists that you need to be connected to that community, and this gets you that connection.
The other thing which is critical about the location is the juxtaposition of 2 major universities and Children's Hospital.
We could very easily get to the Berkeley campus. Of course, now J-Bay's right upstairs, so we interact with their scientists.
Just last week, I had an opportunity to visit QB3. Here you will allow for the best and the brightest of minds to congregate, come up with ideas. Those dreams will be realized. Product would be developed locally, nationally, and internationally. This is the best site for that collaboration.
When you see the platforms and the science that's used to cut the cost of malaria drugs being used to manufacture perfume and biofuel, it wakes you up to the reality that anything is possible.
Economics.
How do we navigate these challenged economic times in one of the greatest clusters in the world? we balanced existing facilities and newly constructed facilities with the idea that there's flexibility to allow these researchers to contract and expand while still maintaining their core facilities for the second campus.
When we were first there, we didn't have the capital to build anything. But we found the blend of owning property and leasing property to be really advantageous because of the flexibility it gave us.
It's tough to get federal funding. The Gallo Center has been very successful, but I would think the ability to jump in and use existing facilities to do research instead of to build buildings would be the better choice.
All the basic structures are in place for you to move forward in a fashion that will work within a budget.
Well, the only trepidation I have about fully endorsing Emory Station for LBNL is, Amherst has more expansion plans too.
If I have one message, the message would be very simple. That this should not be a contest, it should be a race. We need LBNL's research now. The planet needs it. Commercial application needs it. We don't have time to wait.
We have already an established set of life science companies which are focused on innovation, and I think there's a real chance with LBNL joining us in addition that this could make a significant difference in innovation and really progress for humanity.
Thank you. My name is Chris Barlow once again. I'm a partner at Wareham Development. We're now going to show you how that 2 million square feet might look in 50 years' time. Remember, this is a long-term vision for the second campus. So the LBNL team challenged each of the proposed sites to show how they could meet a program within their existing footprint. And that is exactly what we'll show you tonight. Now, as has been mentioned, we have 3 proposals in front of you. One has all the development occurring in the city of Berkeley. One has all the development occurring in the city of Emeryville. And one, justifiably, makes sense to use the existing facilities in both of those cities and supplement and expand them as necessary. So as we see here, we have a view out to the west with LBNL showing down here on the bottom right-hand side. I'll cover through the Berkeley options, and then the Emeryville options will be covered by my colleague, Jeff Sears. Over the side there, you'll see the West Berkeley campus. And as we fly down now over the UC campus, which is effectively the route that the shuttle already takes, bringing scientists and postgrads and grad students down to the campus, we now arrive here, right in the center of the cluster that is Emeryville and West Berkeley. Here is a view from the southeast. We're on the location is on the corner of Ashby and 7th Street. Ashby provides a direct connection to Interstate 80. 7th is a major thoroughfare. This is the size of our campus. It is over 18 acres. Life Sciences Division is located in the West Berkeley Biocenter. 2929 7th Street houses JCAP. And you'll see just how close we are to the main Bayer campus. So if you want an area for collaboration, this is the place to be. Let's shoot forward 50 years. What does 2 million square feet look like on this campus? We have developed the phase 1 around existing buildings and one new building. The West Berkeley Biocenter, 740 Hines Avenue, a newly entitled and fully approved lab building. 700 Hines Avenue and 725 Potter Street. There's also a supplemental need for some operational support space. That could be in a number of areas around here. We've shown one possible one. How would you expand in this 25, 30-year, 40-year bracket? Through the center of the campus, and then on the east side of 7th Street, we've shown how that could be met. The bottom right-hand side here shows us where the Berkeley Bowl is. Let's now look what it looks like as you approach the new campus. So here we are. We're flying down Hines Avenue. In front of us here, we see 2 multi-purpose buildings. Now, we could have built this 2 million square feet with some lower, flatter buildings, or maintained the green open area with some larger buildings. We chose the latter for this concept. Here we pass 800 Hines Avenue, which is where the central amenities core will be based. We enter the new gateway into the Berkeley lab. Parking is underground. All the service areas are underground. The roof of the parking structure is a green roof which forms a quadrangle around the new building, 740 Hines Avenue on your right, LEED Gold pre-certified. 700 Hines Avenue. We swing round to 725 Potter Street, which already includes 3 levels of parking. Here we are now looking at the West Berkeley Biocenter. Once again, as you saw, the largest single component of the first phase. Looking back at 740 Hines Avenue, this building could be complete in 2013. JGI could be down and operating in 2013. As I said, as we head back east, the concept could be fewer taller buildings, or as we see across the street, what we call our project 7th Street East, which is in design and pre-entitlement right now, a lower building. The central area here in front of us where the shuttle shows could be a transportation hub on 7th Street. As we swing round now, we will look back down the campus. The central quad allows scientists to walk or cycle between the buildings, to congregate in the middle, and just generally to get great collaboration. That concludes our presentation on the Berkeley campus alone. I'd like to now hand over to my colleague Jeff Sears, who will take you through the Emeryville proposal.
Good evening, Jeff Sears. Now, you've already heard from the Emeryville officials, Mayor Davis and City Manager O'Keefe, that Emeryville is unique in that it's already decided its future exists and needs to move forward with research and greater densities in the neighborhoods it already exists. The general plan allows more than 3 million square feet to be developed on sites we own and our partner TMG. So 1.3 million square feet already exists on that space, much of which is lab. So the plan already allows far more than the 50-year vision that LBNL has, and therefore creates many ways to accomplish their goal. Much of those existing buildings are LEED rated at high levels, and certainly any new buildings could be constructed to the highest level that LBNL specifies, as deep green as you can go. Our project is centered around the Amtrak station, hence the name Emery Station. You've heard that that's already working and functioning as an intermodal project where the San Francisco stop from the Capitol Corridor arrives that takes you from San Jose to Sacramento. It connects to buses, shuttles, taxis, bike share, car share, so forth. It's also where the LBNL shuttle comes, which connects our campus to that in West Berkeley that you just heard about, and back to LBNL's main campus. Emery Station East is the home of J-Bay and PDU you heard. It's also a facility where Bayer and Amyris operate. And in adjacent buildings, we have R&D labs for Novartis and others. UCSF's Gallo Institute is also nearby, and the Novartis campus proper is just south of ours. Again, with up to 3 million square feet developable on the site, there are many ways to meet LBNL's needs. Certainly, it provides the opportunity to create large green and open public spaces that don't exist today. And we will show you some of those ways that it might happen in an animation we're about to see. The video will focus on the way we can meet the phase 1 of LBNL with buildings that either exist or are already approved under construction or approved and able to be started soon so that LBNL can meet its phase 1 with no further public or environmental approvals required. Here you see our campus lighted up that I've been speaking about. And as we move closer, we will see Emery Station 1, Emery Station North, and the other buildings surrounding it. Construction that will be complete middle of 2012. It is there that the Joint Genome Institute could house and join the activities of J-Bay and the PDU within a year. Right next door to that is Emery Station West, a project that's been approved also and could be up and constructed by 2013. We're going to start back at the lab and fly again down to Emeryville because we enjoy it so much. One thing you can notice here, that clear proximity of the campuses. We're looking over the bay to San Francisco, coming up on our properties. Ours on one side of the railroad, TMG's on the other. And here we see the existing buildings. Again, the city recently created a large green space which could be added on in the development for LBNL. This is a new building that could be built for their computational center, and we're turning south now to Emory Station West, the approved building that is certainly sized to house their biosciences efforts, their life sciences efforts. On the left is the LEED-rated Emory Station North, where Novartis has R&D labs, the Amtrak station to the right, and then we're beginning to see Emory Station 1, where the Gallo Clinic is operating, the UCSF affiliate. As we head east and then turn south, we see Emory Station East to our left, the Novartis campus straight ahead. As we turn and focus on Emory Station East Central Courtyard, we see a place where scientists relax and discuss work or personal things, but we also see a green roof over the parking that provides biological filtering for 100% of the site-generated stormwater. The building also has cogens that scavenge heat and use that for heating. We're looking now down Hollis, south to the Emory Station Greenway building, rendered here but will be available to be seen in its entirety in less than 9 months. It's possible that a bridge could connect this building over to the J-Bay labs across the street. Now we begin to angle down Hollis. If we were in this car that you see, it would be 2 to 3 minutes to the West Berkeley Bioscience Center, the way the LBNL shuttle travels now. Again, we have the ability to meet their needs in phase 1 without any further public approvals and in a way that their scientists could come down and join the existing colleagues here within a year or two. We certainly have plenty of room for future development, not only for them, but for greater collaboration as we expect the people who are here now and will want to join LBNL to be able to locate in Emeryville and grow with them. Now I'd like to introduce Rich Robbins, founder and president of Wareham, who will discuss our company and the team.
Thank you, Jeff. Before I talk about the team, the first statement I'd like to make is one of congratulations and gratitude to Paul and Jim. In 35 years of building and developing in the East Bay Corridor, I've never seen a project that brought together so much cooperation, so much positive information, so much positive publicity about not only 6 sites, but so many cities. And in these very, very polarized times, we need that positive input. We need that positive energy. We need the ability to work together creatively to do what sometimes can't be done. And I think this project has been a magnet for that cooperation, and I hope it's going to set the traction so in many ways it sets the bar of how we're going to work together in the future. Given as I said, we've been developing for about 35 years here in the East Bay Corridor. We've been privileged and fortunate to have built 5 million square feet, over 2.5 million square feet, dedicated solely to research and laboratories. The roster of what we've accomplished and the awards we won pale into comparison in the ability to have been a member and a participant of public-private partnerships. The leadership that we've had in Emeryville, and Nora Davis is absolutely the greatest example of stability, vision, the can-do attitude. In Berkeley, Phil being here today has been great, working with Tom Bates and before that, Lonnie Hancock, in difficult projects to get difficult challenges overcome. It is a can-do area, and we're most proud that in these public-private partnerships, an Amtrak station was built and created, as Nora said, the first one in actually 53 years, just so everybody knew. But it tied in inter and intramodal transit. It tied in the founding of the Emery-Go-Round. It tied in the founding of the West Berkeley shuttle, all mitigating carbon footprint before people were talking about carbon footprint. Now, there's a lot of acronyms and jargon about deeply green, And I think the practices in this corridor, particularly the cities of Emeryville and Berkeley, who were the founders of the Green Alliance and the Green Coalition of more cities, is ample proof that, and they were the forerunner, as we were, in pioneering legislation in brownfields remediation, where we not only practice it in Emeryville and Berkeley, but we've accomplished it. And so many things have been accomplished by working together. I know it sounds funny in contentious times, but by working together, so much has been overcome that has done so much good, whether it be for the earth, the water, and the air we breathe. Now, we have a long way to go, and part of this second campus is critical to the planet's future. Wareham has been deeply involved in these communities. I'm supposed to say a lot of self-serving stuff now. But we deeply believe in education and have been engaged in the education in these two communities for decades. We're very proud to have been involved with the school system in and out, in bringing classes into laboratories, and most importantly, with Bayer Healthcare leading the way. We've been involved in Cal State Haywood's STEM program of teaching the teachers to teach science and math in a creative way. We definitely have been believers of the arts, and the city of Berkeley and Emeryville lead the arts in the East Bay by far. In fact, people don't give enough credit to the artists in the transformation of the city of Emeryville, because it was the artists co-op and the artists in this community in the live-work space, legally called incidental residential for anyone who cares. But most importantly, it was the energy that allowed more creativity and a concern for architecture, aesthetics, and greening the environment. And so with the new Emeryville Center for the Arts, we're deeply engaged, and obviously we're very engaged in the Berkeley Film Foundation. Our expertise in design, construction, oh, forget this stuff. What it's about is the team. We have a team of great people who care passionately about building and designing. We have been privileged to work with DGA and DPR in billions of dollars worth of construction for research, cutting-edge research facilities. We believe this is the best possible team to put together. They believe firmly in what we've done, and with the roster of tenants that we've been privileged to have, LBNL, UC, Chiron, Cetus, Novartis, Bayer Healthcare, Amyris, you've seen obviously the Gallo Institute, and countless others, including the EPA, Department of Health, and Department of Toxics. We couldn't build the research labs and the cutting edge changes that we've had in code compliance and changing the UBS code if it wasn't for the help of architects and contractors who cared greatly about allowing us to be innovative. And so we feel having DGA and DPR with us again, a team that's already worked together many times, is the best possible choice for LBNL. And with that, I'd like to introduce Randall Dowler of DGA. Thank you.
Well, thank you. My name is Randall Dollar, and I do thank Rich for all those very nice accolades. We don't always get those from him, so I appreciate it. I am very pleased to be part of this team. A number of the images that were shown for both campuses were generated from our office, where we have a practice that focuses primarily on high technology. Life sciences is one of the focal point of it. Other material sciences is another area. We've done, as this slide says, a little over 10 million square feet of research-related facility, another 4.5 million square feet of manufacturing, GMP-type facilities for production of products. So it's what we do. We don't design hotels. We don't design other things other than typically high technology research type facilities. Some of our clients in the academic as well as in the private sector, our practice is split between the two. We like the fact that we can do both sides. It gives us a much broader variety of types of projects. Mentioned earlier that we were involved in a joint bioenergy institute, J-Bay's facility here. These are state-of-the-art new open labs for their research. Just finished, as Jeff had mentioned, the PDU facility just got completed in Emory Station East. Some other projects besides, I do a few things other than with Rich. We've recently, well, a few years ago, finished a new project for Stanford, their state-of-the-art chemistry facility. Lori Loki donated the money for this. One of the things we do, and I want to emphasize that it's our practice to engage sustainability, renewability, use things like natural lighting as much as possible. You'll see it in their labs. The other things we do a lot, this is a 450,000 square foot facility that we did over in Mission Bay, and it was designed to house multiple tenants. And when you design a building this tall for life sciences or technology, you have to know how to do it to meet code. This is an L occupancy building, something I would predict we'll need to look at for these facilities either in Emeryville or Berkeley, just because of the density and also to allow the flexibility. We do a lot of redevelopment work for people who own property and look to add, they get higher density, the cities want to improve on those densities. This is a site in South San Francisco that was originally 290,000 square feet. We redeveloped it for 1.5 million square feet of R&D. This is the first building of 2 that have been constructed for Elon, about 200,000 square feet. That's an image of that redevelopment that was passed unanimously on a site that people didn't know that we could actually get that kind of square footage on. We're working with a number of defense contractors. Lockheed is one of our clients, and I want to just point out that the design of this building integrated some sustainability. The slope of that roof has an integrated solar panel in both the front and the rear section of the building. A lot of daylighting. We added a whole series of skylights down the middle that naturally light up the research laboratories. And moving on. This is a building that is part of our solution for the Emory Station. This is Emory Station Greenway building. Will also be one of the first buildings already under construction. DPR is building it as we speak, and will be completed in 2012. And then finally, the other gateway building into the Berkeley site is the 7040 Hines. That's a part of the campus that will expand into the first phase of the Berkeley facility. So that's my presentation for now, and I'd like to pass it to Gavin Keith from DPR, general contractor that probably does more life science, biotech, high technology work than anybody else. So.
Thank you, Randall. I'm Gavin Keith with DPR Construction. I'm a partner at DPR. I share Randall's gratitude on Rich's kind words. We've actually worked together on a number of occasions, and many of the projects that were presented as part of these presentations, we had a hand in constructing. We are one of the largest general contractors in the Bay Area in the state of California. We are a local firm. We employ almost 800 people locally in the Bay Area, about 350 professional staff, and almost 450 to 500 in craft labor. So we're very much committed to the communities that we work in with our employees. Most of our work is focused on 5 core markets, technical markets. It's for institutional, private, and public customers. We have done a lot of work for the universities in this area. The markets that we work in are typically life sciences and laboratories, healthcare, both research facilities and clinical hospitals, and advanced technology, running from clean tech all the way to some of the mission critical and facilities that are being constructed. This is a recent project we just completed for the University of California, San Francisco. The project is actually the Serpentine building in the back. It was quite complicated and housed basic research for the regenerative medicine research being done at UCSF. This project you can actually see in the skyline. It's a new children's and women's hospital being built in Mission Bay in San Francisco. It's one of the largest, about $800 million project being built in the Bay Area. And then finally, we are part of the team planning and with the imminent start of the new computational research facility at the lab up on the hill. A lot of our work is focused around corporate campus work. We've worked for many of the customers that are listed here, so we're familiar with the logistics around building those kinds of facilities. We're very passionate about our commitment to implementing the design strategies around sustainable construction. We have over $500 million worth of work currently being certified, whether it's LEED Gold or LEED Platinum or even some net zero facilities. We spend a lot of time working with the teams to implement these strategies. Finally, we do have a rich history with working in the East Bay, in Berkeley and Emeryville. A lot of the projects that we've done are some fairly recognizable names, building Bay Street, the Pixar campus, and many of the projects that the Wareham team presented, as well as some other real local firms like Cliff Bar and others. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I guess I get to talk to the blank screens. We're waiting to see an electronic version of Mayor Tom Bates.
Well, good evening, and thanks for coming out tonight. I really appreciate you coming and having an opportunity to learn about the wonderful sites that we have in Berkeley for the Berkeley Laboratory's second campus. And we hope that you'll understand that we think we have certain advantages and opportunities that Berkeley offers that the other cities, frankly, don't offer. As the mayor of Berkeley, I'm very proud of the fact that this is a really innovative and a creative community. And what I see is the national laboratories coming in and opening a second campus in Berkeley to feeding right into that innovation and that creativity. You know, the other thing that I like about Berkeley is the fact that not very far away you can find some of the best food in America and the best food in the world as far as I'm concerned, and entertainment and the kind of creative atmosphere that you like to see. Because the essence of what Ernesto Lawrence said was try to get teamwork, and that's what we offer that I don't think other communities really do offer. The opportunity of bringing in the craftsmen and the people who live in our community, working with the scientists, getting the scientists together to be able to interchange and to have opportunity to discuss problems in an informal way. So my hope is that people will think seriously about Berkeley, recognizing that two of the sites are actually with our neighbors. On the one hand with Emeryville, on the other hand with Albany. So we hope that when you look at those sites, the Emeryville site and Berkeley site has its strengths, and we're pledged to work with Emeryville. We're pledged to work to make that a success with two cities. And the same thing is true with the Albany-Berkeley site, the Golden Gate Field site. There are challenges, but we know we can work together with the city of Albany to make this a success. And the third site, the one that we have down at Aquatic Park, is just in a magnificent location with wonderful amenities within, literally steps away. So with Berkeley, you have the convenience, you have the opportunity for people to have a right around them creative environment. You have small businesses that can feed in and work off the lab and tee off the lab. So you look at this all together, what you end up with is one city that can offer innovation, creativity, and I think a successful opportunity for the national laboratories to have their second campus here in Berkeley. So please consider us, and we look forward to do the next step in the process.
Before I introduce the mayor of Emeryville for closing, I want to reiterate a couple of points about our proposals. Firstly, we're a local company, and we're an existing partner. Most importantly, we're proposing the new word of the day is sequestration. Sequestration means when the Republicans and the Democrats screw up even further, they're going to do additional 10% budget cuts across the board of our federal budget to the tune of $1.5 trillion. Now that's a very, very important point, which means we're all going to have to work together. And I don't think there's a greater cause to work for than finding creative solutions for the expansion of the Lawrence Berkeley Lab and all its profound work to change our planet. And I think that's going to be a critical factor in what we propose. We feel we have the most dynamic economic proposal. We're certainly the most sustainable proposal, with existing buildings, with existing campuses, amenities, with new construction, with your Phase 1 fully entitled and proved bulletproof, as well as a lot of your Phase 2 in either Emeryville alone, Berkeley alone, or together in the event of sequestration or creativity, we work together to find a solution. Most importantly, for your scientists, to attract the best and the brightest, amenities, collaboration, transit infrastructure, the proximity and sustainability are all critical arguments I know you understand better than most. I guess in closing, what I would like to say is this, that we in these two cities, in this group, in this team, are passionate about the work you do. It isn't something that we just put a dollar sign on. We've already seen profound results from the work being done, whether it be in the third world or whether it be in our own communities. We have seen this research communicated to commercial application to make our lives better. And certainly given how much we've all screwed up, we are our children and our children's children a whole lot better. And there's no greater cause than the expansion of the research of this laboratory. With that, I'd like to introduce the mayor of Emeryville, the Empress, if you will, Nora Davis.
Well, Rich always likes to get his digs in, guys. And I know all of you sitting out there are just chomping at the bit. You want to have your ability to talk on this very profound issue. First, I want to thank Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory for considering Emeryville as a site for their expansion. I, for one, and the City Council as a whole, are deeply honored, and as Patrick O'Keefe has a resolution to back that up. So what I would like to, I'd like to get down to practicalities here. We have heard the amenities, the real reasons why people should, why LBNL should choose Emeryville. But I want to go a little deeper into this by saying that, as Rich said, we live in very resource-limited times, according to the federal government and to the state capital. So we have to be conscious of how much money we have to spend. We have to be conscious as LBNL to not slow down our research, to get a continuity of flow going. And if you look at the Emeryville proposal, you see a team in place with a track record, Rich and his team, a track record of being able to build and get through the intricacies of government. You see a city government who has a track record of action, of seeing things built and completed. You also have in the city of Emeryville entitlements already in place, a general plan already in place, focusing on the scientific corridor. If LBNL is looking for an isolated campus to build an ivory tower, Emeryville is not the place to come. If LBNL wants to build a beautiful, sustainable campus over a 50 to 100-year period in a city that is willing to start tomorrow, they will have chosen the right place. I want to thank everybody again for coming here tonight, and I think, I hope LBNL considers carefully what we have to offer here, both in the use of limited resources and a vision for the future that is already in place in the city of Emeryville. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Hello again. We're going to begin with some comments from folks representing elected officials. But before that, let me acknowledge in the audience tonight, Berkeley City Council member Lori Capitelli. Could you raise your hand? Are you still here? There he is. Hello. And City Council members from Emeryville, Ruth Atkins and Kurt Brinkhoff. Here? Okay, great. Okay, so first up will be John Gooding representing Barbara Lee, followed by Mark Chucklebane. Mark, representing Nancy Skinner.
Oh, good evening. I'm John Gooding, and just by way of identification, I am honored to serve as chair of One Voice, which is Congresswoman Barbara Lee's Leadership Political Action Committee. The Congresswoman has written a letter to Director Alvasados. Dear Director Alvasados, please accept this letter expressing my full support for the 4 proposed Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratories, LBNL, second campus sites located in California's 9th Congressional District, which I currently represent. I am confident that each of the proposed sites, Brooklyn Basin in Oakland, the Berkeley Aquatic Park West in Berkeley, Golden Gate Fields in Albany, and Emeryville, Emory Station in Emeryville in Berkeley, will provide exceptional facilities and garner the community support necessary to drive LBNL's cutting-edge research. Moreover, I trust these projects will be mutually beneficial to the labs and the surrounding communities. It is my strong belief that each of these proposed sites fulfills or surpasses the original requirements of LBNL's request for qualifications. Furthermore, I understand that these 4 sites are located in safe and welcoming communities, closely accessible to LBNL's main campus, that they meet all physical requirements for planned construction. As internationally renowned biotechnology industry centers, the East Bay cities of Oakland, Emeryville, Albany, and Berkeley are optimal locations for this project. Additionally, developing the second campus in the 9th Congressional District would be a vehicle for critical job creation efforts and a boon to local economies, which have been especially hard hit by the current recession and unemployment crisis. Therefore, as you move forward with the decision-making process, it is my hope that you will give every full and fair consideration to these unique projects located within my district. I am prepared to fully support these sites and to assist you in any way available within my congressional obligations during this decision-making process. Please feel free to call me if you have any questions or to further discuss this matter. Sincerely, Barbara Lee, Member of Congress.
Thank you very much. Mark?
Good evening. I'm Mark Chucklebane, District Director for Assemblymember Nancy Skinner. And Nancy couldn't be here this evening, but she asked me to read this statement for you. As the nexus for a vibrant, intellectual, and diverse community, Assembly District 14 serves as the perfect host for Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratories' second campus. All of the sites within ADD 14 have good proximity to the existing lab campus. I saw Building 50 as you opened the curtains earlier, as well as UC Berkeley, and can thus foster and sustain the intellectual synergy and collaborative endeavors the lab is seeking. The sites also provide good transportation access and will retain existing lab-related employment and economic development and grow jobs in the economy within this district. LBNL has a major presence in the district now with its existing campus up the hill, the Joint Bioenergy Institute and the Advanced Biofuels Process Demonstration Unit here in Emeryville, the Life Sciences Division and Joint Center for Artificial Photosynthesis in West Berkeley, the QB3 East Bay Innovation Center, as well as researchers and other infrastructure in Richmond for both the lab and the campus, and computing facilities and researchers in Oakland. Additionally, there is a cluster of scientific organizations throughout AD 14 that range in size from leading multinational corporations to smaller startup and micro companies, many of which have spun out from the leading edge research conducted both at UC Berkeley and LBNL itself. This very localized scientific cluster is internationally recognized as one of the largest and most concentrated in the world. Union labor would be used at any of the proposed sites, And our building trades who have been so hurt by the current economic downturn will benefit from the quality jobs for our highly skilled and dedicated local laborers. And the new campus will bring opportunities for well-paid research and support jobs in the lab's existing local community. Nancy appreciates the serious consideration of the sites in AD 14, and she once again reiterates her commitment to assist in the development of Berkeley Lab's second campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Berkeley City Council member Darrell Moore.
Thank you very much. I'm here to discuss why I want the labs in West Berkeley, or collaboration of West Berkeley and Emeryville. I understand that LBNL has to offer for our city and my district in particular. A second LBNL campus would obviously employ a great deal of people with advanced degrees. But as demonstrated in a recent presentation by the Berkeley's Office of Economic Development, many of the fastest growing jobs in the biotech sector are jobs that don't require a four-year degree. Some require only job training. Lab spinoffs would employ postdoctorates from UC Berkeley and graduates from Berkeley City College, but would also give jobs to West Berkeley residents who never made it to college. Those are the hardest hits in these economic downturns. Even in the first phase of this second campus project, when the lab will consolidate operations that the lab has at various other sites throughout the East Bay, job creation potential is enormous. The construction of the campus would create an immediate and dramatic impact for Berkeley and other East Bay cities, helping to put people back to work that have been cast off by this depressing housing market. A West Berkeley location would result in minimum travel distance to the main campus and significant reduction in carbon emissions compared with other potential sites. Furthermore, the ability to expand around a base of existing modern research and development facilities that are already occupied by LBNL seem to me to be extremely sustainable and cost-effective option, both important stated goals for the second campus. I say, let's bring the lab to West Berkeley. And thank you very much.
Thank you. So as we begin the official public comment period, this seems like a very disciplined crowd, so I'm not going to have to say too much about the 2-minute time limit for those who were at the meeting the other night. But we're going to begin with students from the Emory Secondary School who would like to speak in support of LBNL coming to Emeryville. So I think there are 6 of you, yes. So please identify yourselves each time you come to the mic so we can capture that on the video.
Good evening. My name is Brittany Collins-Rogers, and I am a current sophomore at California State University, Monterey Bay, and I'm majoring in psychology. In 2010, I graduated from Emory Secondary School with honors as the ASB president. This summer, I had the wonderful opportunity of interning at a program called STEM, which is Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, in collaboration with UC Labs. This partnership with UC Berkeley allowed the students from grades 6 to 10 to enhance their learning in the fields of math and science. UC Berkeley sent 8 CalTeach students over to assist the math and science teachers at Emory Secondary in their classrooms. Throughout the program, students interacted with one another on many occasions, such as hands-on activities, class curriculum exercises, and going on field trips every Friday, such as the San Francisco Exploratorium and the Bear Labs in Emeryville. Looking at the partnership with UC Berkeley and Emory High School, there have been many pictures of a strong commitment to academic excellence within our school system. And if the LBNL is in Emeryville, then similar partnerships can be made. Overall partnerships create connection, which brings the community together, and that's what Emeryville is all about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Maddox, and I am a student at Emory Secondary School in the 10th grade. This summer, I participated in the CalSTEM Academy. I have participated in this program for 2 years. The reason why I like STEM is because it helps you understand math more. One of the things that I enjoyed about STEM was learning about the physics and the history behind ancient weapons when they were used in different battles. Because of STEM, I know more about math and would like to grow up and become an optometrist and major in biology. I think LBNL should be in Emeryville because it expands the different opportunities for learning and can provide students with a variety of interesting areas to study. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Fabiola Perez, and I am in the 9th grade at Emory Secondary School. This summer, I participated in the Cal STEM Academy. I have participated in the program for 2 years. The reason why I like STEM is because I get to learn what I'm going to study next year. That is important because I will understand better what I'm learning in class. One of the things that I enjoyed about STEM is the projects that we did. For example, the roller coaster that we had a chance to build in geometry class. It was interesting because we got to measure how tall it was and we learned about distance and time. I want to become a nurse when I grow up because I will get a chance to help those who need it. I think it is important for partnerships like LBNL to be available in Emeryville because students have the chance to get a head start on what we will be learning in the coming year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Delasia Ware, and I'm in the 10th grade at Emory Secondary School. This summer, I participated in the Cal STEM Academy. I have participated in the program for 1 year. The reason why I like STEM is because it helps me get prepared for my next math class. While in STEM, I enjoy doing hands-on projects like building a roller coaster, where we learned about time, velocity, and speed. Because of STEM, I know more about geometry and science. I want to be a psychologist when I grow up. I think it is important that more STEM partnerships like LBNL are available in Emeryville because it will encourage students to have goals in life instead of hanging out on the streets, and it will provide youth with more opportunities to learn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Avanit Panu, and I am an alumni from Emory Secondary School. I graduated in the class of 2010, and am now currently a sophomore at St. Mary's College of California. I am majoring in engineering with the minor in mathematics. When I was younger, I attended a program similar to STEM. It was called PEP Academy, and it was at Cal Berkeley. It helped me a lot because I was able to get a head start for math for high school. And because of that, I graduated from Emory Secondary School having completed both AP Calculus AB and AP Calculus BC. For the past 3 years, I have worked at Emory Secondary School's Cal STEM Academy. I have watched both the students and the program grow. More and more young women are joining STEM and finding an interest in science or math. Currently, I am one of 5 women enrolled in the engineering program at St. Mary's class of 2015. With programs similar to STEM and other partnerships that we might develop with LBNL, there are more opportunities for young women to be able to explore future fields in science and mathematics. Speaking as a woman who participated in programs similar to STEM, I can proudly say that it definitely contributed greatly to where I stand today. They not only provided me with knowledge, but they gave me the confidence to know that I can continue in science and mathematics. That confidence is important to our youth and especially to these young women. Thank you. I would now like to present the Deputy Superintendent, Anna Karita Allen.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anna Karita Allen. I'm Deputy Superintendent of Emory Unified School District, and I'm here to present a resolution on behalf of our Board of Trustees and our Superintendent, Dr. Deborah Lindo. So we are very excited about the possibility and the possible opportunity for there to be the national lab to be placed in Emeryville. So with our resolution, without reading the entire resolution, we would like to present that the board has authorized our superintendent to work closely with the representatives in our city, and that she will be able to participate and ensure that the school board and that our students will have an opportunity to partner with this project. So just as you've heard, many of our students who've attended our STEM Academy, we actually have a lot more who attends every year, and this is actually our 3rd year on our school campus due to the fact that the PEP Academy, due to funds, it had to close down. So we really try to encourage our students and encourage our community members to help support our school district in providing those services. So again, I just want to present the resolution to you, and thank you for allowing the city and for the school district to entertain you in a proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to call a number of names, so if people could come to the mic. I'm going to, please try to keep this to 2 minutes. So Denise Pinkston, Michael Kaplan, Charlie Bryant, Kevin Johnston, and George Warren. So proceed. You can introduce yourself first, of course.
Hi, I'm Denise Pinkston. I'm a partner at TMG Partners, and we co-partnered with Wareham Development in preparing the initial proposals to LBNL. So nice to meet you all, and we're happy to be working with Rich and his team to support their application in whatever way possible. I just quickly want to say TMG is one of the most active development companies in the Bay Area. I'm a Berkeley resident, former Berkeley Planning Commissioner, former Albany Chamber of Commerce member, and current head of the Emeryville TMA. So I've worked in many of the East Bay cities, live in one of them, that you're contemplating for your host community. And I have to say that Emeryville is really special. And it's not just because my land is in Emeryville and I'm pitching it to you, but it's rare in this life when you have the opportunity to make a decision that is both eminently practical and also visionary. Emeryville offers both of those things. It's practical because you have existing here today a biotech cluster, entire buildings, amenities, an approved general plan, buildings you can do without additional environmental review or risk, infrastructure, amenities, transit, a supportive city government. And it's visionary because, as people have pointed out, it's one thing to build a LEED certified building in the middle of nowhere. What really is green is filling in existing developed areas with additional density that can be transit supported. And that's what Emeryville has endorsed in their general plan. They have a climate action plan that endorses that vision. It's part of the Green Corridor. The success of the visionary companies that have come to Emeryville and made it a headquarters demonstrate that. And then finally, the pitch for my site. The Marketplace site owned by TMG was the first LEED Platinum certified neighborhood development plan in the nation. We even beat out the Chinese Olympic site. They only made LEED Gold. So coming to Emeryville really creates an opportunity for the lab to do not only the practical thing in terms of resources and existing amenities to support you, but the visionary thing to build a really green campus in a green way by doing infill, not developing raw land.
Thank you very much. If you see me waving my hand, it's going to be like 30 seconds.
Good evening. My name is Michael Kaplan. I'm the Economic Development Manager for the City of Berkeley, and very pleased to be here tonight. I'm really thrilled that the Berkeley Lab is considering 3 sites, which are either all or whole or partially located in Berkeley. And I'd just like to make a couple comments about the benefits I see for locating that campus in Berkeley, both for the city and for the lab itself. I could talk about jobs, perhaps the most obvious benefit, but since I have limited time, I'd just like to focus on how the presence of the second campus in Berkeley will stimulate new business development opportunity, both in Berkeley and Emeryville. As Paul Alvasato stated earlier, the lab has generated many spin-out companies over the years and in a variety of sectors. Some of those have landed in Berkeley and Emeryville, some of those have left the region. I would strongly suggest that Berkeley's ability to capture and grow successful local companies from the seeds that have been strewn by the lab has never been better than it is right now. Phil Kamlar's mentioned that the City Council recently changed West Berkeley zoning to better accommodate spin-outs and early-stage companies that are doing R&D. I'm working with my colleague Helen Bean right here in Emeryville Economic Development to develop a joint marketing strategy for the Berkeley Emeryville Bioscience Cluster, which has been discussed as one of the greatest concentrations in the world. QB3 East Bay recently opened operations in Berkeley to take advantage of the cluster and to service the strong demand from spin-out companies. And in downtown Berkeley, we've launched the Berkeley Startup Cluster, which is really a way to capture emerging IT companies out of the lab and the university. It'll be 10,000 square feet. It'll be right at center in Shattuck, and it really suggests the direction we're going in Berkeley, which is capturing innovation, limiting innovation drain, and showing that together we can really help make Berkeley and the region a center of innovation and economic development and new technologies. So just one final point. My sense is putting the lab in West Berkeley will not only provide economic development benefits to the city, but it will support the research enterprise of the lab itself. World-class researchers want a location that is accessible, that is near important user facilities, that's embedded in a cluster of existing cluster of related industries, and finally, that is also part of a rich innovation ecosystem that can support entrepreneurship and efforts to commercialize new technology. So over the next 30 to 50 year time frame, I think you will see a lot of growth. I think there's no better time than now to think about a West Berkeley location or a West Berkeley Emeryville location. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlie Bryant. I'm the Planning and Building Director of the City of Emeryville. And I'd just like to echo the comments that the mayor and city manager and a number of other people made about the project's compliance with our general plan. We have a relatively new general plan. It was adopted in October 2009 following an extensive 5-year public participation process during which the Emeryville community set forth their vision for the future of the city. Although we didn't know about the LBNL Second Campus project when we developed the general plan, it's as if we did, since the LBNL project and Emeryville's vision for its future are remarkably in sync with each other. The new general plan includes several enhancements over the previous general plan that support the LBNL project. These include increased density, improved bicycle, pedestrian, and public transit circulation systems, and an emphasis on new and improved parks and open space, including a large new city park immediately adjacent to where the LBNL Second Campus would be located. In addition, most of the area where LBNL's campus is proposed to be is already designated for office technology use in our general plan. The general plan has been designed to accommodate significant job growth and office and laboratory development over the next 20 years, including more than enough space on the TMG and Wareham properties alone to accommodate LBNL's present and future needs. Finally, LBNL already has space in Emeryville, as has been stated previously, and our city staff, including planning, building, fire, and other departments, were integral to making that happen. Unlike other small 1 square mile cities, our staff is very familiar with the special requirements of laboratory uses. In short, while the proposals of other cities for LBNL Second Campus will probably involve lengthy and possibly contentious general plan amendments, our general plan has already been designed with projects like LBNL in mind. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome the Berkeley Lab Second Campus to Emeryville. Thank you.
Thank you. Exactly 2 minutes. Congratulations.
Hi, good evening. Kevin Johnston. I'm the chief of the Emeryville Fire Department. I don't think I can keep it down like Charlie did there to dead on 2 minutes. He's a pro. So anyway, welcome LBNL to the city of Emeryville. And I'd like to talk just a little bit about some of the virtues of our fire department here. I've worked in a lot of different agencies over the years. And some of those agencies, including, dare I say, the state of California, sometimes you get work done in spite of yourself and your organization because it's so big and onerous. One of the great things about the city of Emeryville and the Emeryville Fire Department is, albeit that we're small, we're still the fire department that you can pick up the telephone, reach out and talk to the fire chief, you can talk to a council member, and you can actually get things done. All you have to do is take a look out the window there and see what's happened over the past 20 years in Emeryville, because I remember it from the 1970s when I remember driving through here to where it is now. So it's very impressive. So we're a small town fire department. You can still reach out and touch us. We're small, 24 firefighters, 2 fire stations, but we're strategically located. One firehouse on the peninsula, the other firehouse on Hollis. We can get to anywhere in town with a travel time of 4 minutes, 20 seconds. So we are strategically well-spaced to come out and reach out and touch you if need be. Do want to talk about our Fire Prevention Bureau. Charlie talked about the collaboration between building planning and fire. Our fire inspector has experience of 31 years, including dealing with labs and complex businesses out here. So rest assured, we certainly have the experience to deal with that project. I do want to tell you that EMS, Emergency Medical Services, is our showcase in town. We have paramedics in all our fire stations and advanced life support equipment. So we're very proud of that, and we are definitely here to assist you in that area if need be. We have modest public education program. We do community education in the schools and the businesses, first aid, CPR, and disaster preparedness, community emergency response team training. We look forward to partnering with you and doing some of that education if you choose to come here. Lastly, I do want to leave you with the thought that even though we are small, I want to keep in mind that you are in the middle of the San Francisco Bay Area, which is a very robust fire service system. And just in the county alone, we have 3 hazardous materials teams. We're the home to the Oakland USAR team, which is a FEMA-based team. We have huge amount of resources here, and we look forward to partnering and serving you.
Thank you very much. So there was George Warren, I believe, was the last. And then the next group will consist of Ken James, Peter Oswald, Sheila Bergman, Melinda Chin, I think, sorry, and Bob Cantor. Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a conspiracy. The thing's too low. I'll follow Chief Johnson the best way that I can. My name is George Warren. I'm the assigned Deputy Fire Marshal for the Emeryville Fire Department. I've been here for one way or another for 31 years with the city, and a little bit before that as an independent contractor working with them. I've seen the Warren buildings, the Martin Group buildings, and most of the buildings around here when they weren't in the physical state you see them now. I know what they were like when it was Westinghouse before it was Warren. I know what it was like for the marketplace to go through when it was certain nightclubs. We've seen the development, we've seen the vision of the city council, we implement it. What you heard earlier is that I heard one statement by a previous speaker of L occupancies. There's probably about 4 people in this room that knows what an L occupancy is. I'm one of them. We see it all the time, we've done them, we've done it through the town. I can safely say, without fear of reputation, that the Emeryville Planning and Building Department and Fire Department work together to get a common goal, to get a common way. We work together as a team. There's not a problem, there's no problem that can't be solved, and there's always an opportunity for the solution. We make it happen. We'll make it happen for reasonable expectations, the best way that we can, and Rich can speak to that at some point in time. Like I said, we can get it done. We look forward to it. I've been here, like I said, 31 years. I've been challenged more in probably the last 10 years than I was in the first 20 years, and I love it. It's one of the reasons I stick around. Thank you.
Rich Robbins and Wareham and the other developers is it has to be done in a safe environment. And the Emeryville Police Department has created a safe environment for this city. We are a small department, lean, mean service machine. We are a 24/7 organization, and you call, regardless of the type of call, you will see a body. You won't be told, please fill out a report and send it in. We'll get to it, we can. You will see a body. You will have somebody there to help you. Community-oriented policing, which includes businesses, is not a byword for the Emeryville Police Department. It is our philosophy. We are here to serve the community, both business and residents, and create an environment where they feel safe, they feel warm, and they feel welcome. And that is what we wish to do for the Lawrence Livermore Laboratories. Through the years, we have partnered, Berkeley, I'm sorry. Through the years, we have partnered with the various large organizations that have come into town to create that safe environment. We work closely with Novartis and Bayer Security. We work closely with all of the security agencies in the city. We were the first East Bay or Bay Area city to form a security coalition with the police department. So that said, the Emeryville Police Department, you call us for emergencies, we'll be there in less than 2 minutes. For non-emergencies, you'll see a cop within 5 minutes. Thank you very much and welcome to Emeryville.
Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to Emeryville. I'm Peter Oswald, Executive Director of the Emeryville Transportation Management Association. The association was created to provide transportation services within Emeryville. And in doing that, we have several objectives: mitigate traffic congestion, reduce single occupant automobile use, and finally, reduce air pollution and improve air quality. How we do all that is to provide Emery-go-round. You've heard of the little engine that could. We're the little transit agency that could and does. And we have a lot of heart. I was in the development business for 25 years, and I know that as a large employer, you're very cognizant, and it becomes part of your decision-making and locating a place, a site for your work activity, that you keep in mind the commute of your employees. That's a very important criterion. So Emery-go-round does that in Emeryville. We transport 1.3 million riders a year. About 40% of the riders that get off of BART at MacArthur transport it into the Emery-go-round buses. We virtually serve all the major employers within Emeryville, and we do that serving 10 minutes during the commute hours and 15 to 20 minutes in off-commute hours. And we operate from 5:45 in the morning till 10:30 at night. I'd also like to tell you that we have a system that's free to all riders. That's very unusual. I think we're the only service in transit that does that in Northern California. My 2 minutes about up?
No, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. The service is actually funded by the major employers within Emeryville, also the retail establishments and the apartment owners. So lastly, I'd like to say we hope that you locate the second campus in Emeryville, and Emery-go-round stands ready to transport your workers every day. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Melinda Chin, and I'm the Director of Community Services for the City of Emeryville. One of the programs offered by the Community Services Department is the Emeryville Child Development Center. The Emeryville Child Development Center would be a wonderful resource for your employees. We offer quality care and educational experiences for children ages 4 months to 5 years old. We offer age-appropriate activities that are provided to promote cognitive, motor, and language development. Daily activities include opportunities for exploration and expression through science, cooking, art, and music. The program emphasizes positive self-image, cultural pride, and social and emotional development. The Emeryville Child Development Center also provides family support through parenting workshops, support groups, and partnerships with multiple service providers. Breakfast, lunch, and snacks are provided each day. Funding from the State Department of Education provides subsidized spaces to families that qualify and market rate spaces available at competitive rates. Last but not least, we operate out of a state-of-the-art facility located on 53rd Street between Hollis and San Pablo Avenue, which provides easy, convenient access for parents that work in Emeryville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Dr. Olivasatos and members. Bob Cantor, I'm the President and CEO of the Emeryville Chamber of Commerce. We're delighted to welcome you here this evening. I understand the hour is late and the time is short. I won't pretend to repeat the many things you've heard here this evening. I endorse them all. But let me leave you with another thought that you may not have heard. We realize that this is, I believe, the last of your community meetings that you've held in the various communities. And after you conclude these, you'll review the criteria that you have established. Jim Krutnick reviewed them on the paper there, the proximity to the current lab, the transportation. And we're fully confident that when you do that, our community, Emeryville, will match up perfectly, will exceed or beat all of those. But we urge you to, after you've done that, to do a second analysis. I'd like to urge you to do an off-the-paper analysis, to look for a community that matches the values of the lab, the values of advancement of scientific research, of commercialization of that research into the private sector and spinning off private companies to bring those benefits of that research to the public, and embracing the community. And when you look at those values, advancement of scientific research, which we already have here in Emeryville with some of the major corporations, and in fact, you're already here, why not just stay and grow with us? When you look at that value, of commercialization of that scientific research. Emeryville is a perfect business center for that. This city is one of the few in this area that I believe was probably founded as a commercial center by Mr. Emery in 1896. I'm often fond of saying that Emeryville was California's first enterprise zone. And we have those business support services for you. And embracing the community. You've heard from our schools, you've heard from other elements of our community, you're going to hear from more in a moment. And when you do that off-the-paper analysis, that values analysis, we think you'll find that our community is the right community for you. Last Tuesday, the 2nd, our board of directors met right here in this room. In fact, our chairman was sitting right about where Rich Robbins is sitting right now, and unanimously endorsed the welcoming you to our town and pledging the full support of our organization to facilitate your move here, both prior to that and after your employers are here to welcome to our community. And I welcome you here tonight, and we look forward to welcoming you here permanently more in the future.
Thank you. I knew there was one more in that group.
Hi, good evening. I'm Sheila Bergman, the Executive Director of the Emeryville Center for the Arts. As the Executive Director of the Emeryville Center for the Arts, and on behalf of our Board of Directors, we would welcome the opportunity for LB&L to build a second campus in Emeryville. The Emeryville Center for the Arts sees ourselves as an instigator for new ideas in contemporary arts, not unlike LB&L does in the sciences. As we all know, artists and scientists have a lot in common. Both artists and scientists focus on how we view the nature of reality. Both are committed to uncovering that which is hidden from our view. Scientists and artists, each in their own way, investigate their worlds, formulate theories about what's possible, and then test out those theories, bringing action to notion, idea, and concept, one in the studio, the other in the laboratory. History is filled with creators whose work spans both arts and science. The Emeryville Center for the Arts is an exhibition and performance space rather than a collecting institution. We will exhibit and present first-class contemporary visual and performing arts and serve as an instigator for new ideas in contemporary arts, not unlike Xerox PARC did for technology. In addition, the ECA, which we call ourselves, Performing Arts Program, will present some of the most compelling performing artists in dance, theater, puppetry, music, spoken word. And the film and media program will co-inhabit the theater and the gallery and screen works by regional and emerging artists alike. In our new 30,000 square foot home designed by Jensen Architects, we will have a 250-seat theater, 8,500 square feet of exhibition space, public courtyard, gathering space, cafe, retail, store of regional artists. In summary, the ECA would welcome LB&L to Emeryville and especially expanding our creative community. Thank you.
Thank you. We're approaching the 9 o'clock hour. I'm going to let this run a little bit longer, so I'm just going to pick some cards at random here. Buzz Cardoza, Chris Kahn, Betty Inkland, John DeClerc, Zelda Bronstein. Okay, please.
My name is Buzz Cardoza. I'm a native of Berkeley. Graduated from Cal, and then left the Bay Area. I moved back to Emeryville about 11 years ago after I retired. I thought I'd only stay here briefly because my image of Emeryville is a place where you had to roll up the windows of your car when you drove through. It smells so bad. I was shocked at how things had changed here and became very excited about it. I've served on the Planning Commission for the last 5.5 years, and I would strongly encourage the lab to move to Emeryville. It has all of the services, and things happen rapidly here. I hate to beat up on my old hometown, but it takes forever to get things approved in Berkeley. An example would be the new Berkeley Bowl West, which is a marvelous facility, and you would think anybody would welcome it immediately, but it did take forever to happen. Now, things happen very rapidly in Emeryville, and you don't have to worry about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Chris Cohen. I'm the Dean of Students at Expression College for Digital Arts here in Emeryville. We went through a similar process a dozen years ago, deciding where we were going to put our college, and we researched the Bay Area. And then we found an oasis. Emeryville was that oasis. We've been in business now for 12 years teaching the digital arts, digital film, motion graphic design, animation, visual effects, sound arts, and digital photography. We did have a chance to work with JBay recently, and I thought that was very, very unique. Usually when our students in animation and visual effects graduate, they go on to create feature films, animated feature films. But JBay called us up and they said they want us to do some scientific visualization. And what an eye-opening experience that was. So yes, artists can work with scientists. And we're here to invite you to look at the friendliness of Emeryville. That's really what sold us. You know, you've heard about the facilities and the transportation access and all that is wonderful, and it is wonderful. But it's the people of Emeryville. That's why we chose it to put the college there. We have 1,000 people coming into our campus every day, and it's the safest place around. And you can go out of your door at night and walk to a restaurant. We have 20 of them within 2 blocks of our house. I used to live in Orinda until last year, commuting through the tunnel, as you know. And then finally I said, I gotta get close to the college. I moved 2 blocks away and my life has changed. So we welcome you here and we're looking forward for your life to change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Betty Inclin, president of Berkeley City College. Our college serves primarily the cities of Berkeley, Emeryville, and Albany. We have outstanding partnership with our cities, and we also have supported the biotechnology and bioscience corridor in the cities of Berkeley and Emeryville. Berkeley City College is enthusiastic about the prospect of a second campus for the Lawrence Berkeley Lab in the cities of Berkeley and Emeryville. The laboratory and Berkeley City College have been partners in producing outstanding educational opportunities for the next generation of scientists. The lab provides important internships that are critical to the sciences, and in particular for us, opportunity for our bioscience and biotechnology students, especially at a time that our college is expanding the offerings in the sciences. Both Berkeley and Emeryville provide intellectual centers for education and leadership in the sciences. LB&L's presence will provide a strong foundation that contributes to the community's excellent reputation in the science. It will create a climate for sustained local economic development that fosters students' highest aspirations. Lawrence Berkeley Lab also provides a rich resource for higher education by developing the talents of prospective science instructors and mentors in science education. This location, the 2 sites presented today, would be thriving centers for scientific innovation. The area benefits new and established entrepreneurs, as well as the community at large. I strongly encourage the Lawrence Berkeley Lab to continue its long-standing partnership with our community. There is no question that this project makes good sense for science education, for education in general, for job training opportunities, for economic development and for sustainability. We welcome you here, and we hope you consider these two sites. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is, there we go, John DeClerc with the Berkeley Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, the Chamber is very excited that the lab has selected 3 sites in Berkeley. And for those who weren't to the last 2 meetings, there were many people from the Berkeley community who did welcome you to any one of the 3 Berkeley sites, this being one of the 3. So I'd like to bring all of them to me, with me tonight and welcome you and welcome this application, this quality application. We think this is a clear, strong application. Wareham has the sites. They've developed them. They know how to develop a campus. They know how to develop a campus center for that you're asking for and looking for. They've got the 500,000 square feet already for phase 1. They've got a clear plan on how to do the 2 million square feet. Their application, their presentation was very clear. The dual plan is most cost-effective in these challenging economic times. We know that the federal government is tight on the budget. We know DOE is going to be very difficult. This is the most cost-effective application. We recommend that to you for that reason. We know that Wareham can do, they have done. We know that they were instrumental in the Emeryville round creation. We heard earlier about that. We know that they were instrumental in expanding the shuttle into West Berkeley. We know that they're instrumental in the child care. We know that they know how to do the campus construction and how to set it up. Perhaps the underground parking, the Go Greener. The private sector is leading the way to accomplishing things. It's going to be very difficult for such places as Richmond to float a bond and get the financing. The public-private partnership that Wareham, Rich Robbins has demonstrated is the way to go. The 2 cities can share, there's some tax problems, they can share the benefits, they can share the tax. The amenities are in place. The second campus may employ as many as 900 people, more than 900, 925 people, and it generates $55 million in local economy. We can't really judge between the 3. We want the site in Berkeley. We think the application, the Berkeley, the Emeryville are a combination of the 2, and we strongly recommend this application to you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Zelda Bronstein. I live in Berkeley. I'm a former chair of the Berkeley Planning Commission. People have been talking tonight about the East Bay Green Corridor Partnership, but they have seemed to have forgotten what that was about. The partnership was started in 2007 and instigated by Mayor Bates and I believe Chancellor Burgeono of the university, and it originally consisted of 4 cities, Berkeley, Oakland, Emeryville, Richmond, the lab, UC Berkeley. In 2009, it expanded to include Albany, El Cerrito, Alameda, San Leandro, Peralta Community College District, and Cal State East Bay. What was the purpose? As Mayor Bates said when it was founded at the press conference, to get beyond the parochialism of our cities and to share in the green, the fruits of the green economy, green tech, clean tech. But that was before the lab issued its RFQ. And now we have the unseemly sight of, I count, 8 of the partners competing with each other for the lab. I want to recall that original purpose and step back and say, what would really be the best place for the lab to be located if we got beyond our self-interest? 3 reasons why it would be 1, Richmond, or 2, Alameda. First is fiscal concerns. The lab is a public facility. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. UC owns the land in Richmond. Alameda is willing to give you the land. 2, people have been talking about how there's already something here, saves money. But the flip side of that is you can start from the ground up, and you're not going to be displacing established communities and jobs. We heard in Albany about how the racetrack, 1,000 jobs will be lost. In Berkeley, there is a vital and viable, in spite of what you hear, industrial sector with a couple hundred businesses, thousands of jobs, also includes artists. 3rd, welcoming community. I can't speak for Emeryville. Clearly, the Albany community is very divided about the second campus, and I know that Berkeley is as well. And I want to note, you heard from Planning Commissioner Novosel on Thursday evening about Measure R and how that was beaten back. That fight isn't over. And that fight started, actually, it It's a result of the backroom deal that Mayor Bates cut with the university over the city's lawsuit on UC expansion. Fight's not over. I want to also just say something about
Excuse me, we're over time, so could you please?
I will. Each of the three developers has a bad track record with communities. Forest City, check out the Atlantic Yards report. Mr. Stronach, obviously, bitter feelings, City of Albany. And Wareham is notorious for its hostility to artists who live in buildings that Mr. Robbins either wants to tear down or renegotiate. Talk to the people who used to, the radio and film producers who used to work out of the Fantasy Building, which he bought from Saul Zantz. Don't live there. They don't work there anymore. Rents are too high.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to close the evening with one last person, Dale Bartlett. Is Dale Bartlett still here? Yes.
I put in a speaker slip as well.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry, we're not going to, there are a number of cards we're not going to get to, okay. I didn't single you out. Yes, sir.
My name is Dale Bartlett, and I work for Peralta Colleges, but I'm not here speaking for Peralta. I was told not to say nothing, just to come and observe, but if you know me, you know better than that. What I want to do is really applaud the opportunity that we're looking at. I mean, I didn't come to speak for any one site, although I spent most of my life in Berkeley. My first job was at Protein Research Associates, which is now the parking lot of Bayer. When I first came here, where this building is, was a helicopter pad. And, you know, they had all that beautiful art out there in the estuary. But what I want to speak to is when I look at where our world is changing, I look back at the history of Emeryville, all of the steel plants, the really heavy industry that was just on this shoreline. And I see we have an opportunity now to re-industrialize our world with clean technology, with a sensitivity of what we're about as human beings and our environment. I hear people talk about the LEED buildings. That was something unheard of. But we have a chance with this corridor, with all of the wonderful sites that have been presented, to really be on the cutting edge of something new and future. So I just really want to applaud you all, and let's re-industrialize this United States starting here.
Thank you. So on that note, we're going to conclude the public comment section. For those who do have questions or would like to send us comments, we have your cards, but keep in mind you can always contact us at secondcampus@lbl.gov. Thank you, presenters. Thank you, staff, for helping, and thank you all for coming. We're now concluding this meeting tonight. Thank you.